Hey guys and girls, I'm James and welcome to the channel. Today we were taking a look at a drone that was referred to me by Morris Peltz, a subscriber. He said, James, have you reviewed the GPS brushless motor drone from Walmart for $99? I'm like, no, I haven't. So thanks, Morris. I reached out and I got it. I didn't know there was a GPS drone sold in America for $99 with brushless motors. Now, a few months ago, I did do the LYRC L900, but this has to come from China, from Banggood. It takes 6 weeks. It comes with one battery and no case. And if you have any problems, then you got to deal with the customer service all the way back from China. Where this NetNew S1 comes with the case, 2 batteries, and you get to buy it from Walmart. So talking about that, let's go to Walmart's website and let's look down. They sell a lot of drones. So as we start scaling down, we see this capture drone, $200 marked down at $900. This is a cool looking drone. Man, that's a good deal. No, this is not a GPS drone and it has brushed motors. Let me explain the difference. This one, when you're flying it, you're the pilot in command and it doesn't lock onto the satellites. Where this one locks onto the satellites and the GPS holds it into position. Where this one has brushed motors and these are brushless. What's the difference? Well, brushless motors are like 2 magnets spinning inside of each other. There's less heat, they take less power to run, they last longer. Where the brushed motors are like 2 brooms spinning inside of a magnet and there's more heat, they wear out faster, and also they're driven by a little gear. So if something ever happens and these props get into a bind, it strips that little gear out, and this little drone's about worthless. So is this one worth $99? Absolutely not. If you want a non-GPS brushed motor drone, I would go with the DERC D60. That's a great drone, and it's this price point on Amazon right now. But this one is $99 at Walmart. I did look, and AliExpress, I think it's $119 with 1 battery. So this is and this isn't a sale price. This is a regular price on this NetNew GPS drone. So thank Morris. I got hold of it. It cost me $99, but I'm excited because it's real important to start with a drone at this price point and when you're a beginner. I showed this guy hundreds of times, but most people spend thousands of dollars and they go and they get a drone like this because they don't understand the orientation of a drone. And it's much harder to learn the orientation of a drone if there's a little bit of wind outside. I had a reviewer recently complain that his non-GPS drone kept trying to fly away in the wind. Well, I said, I bought a soccer ball. It keeps rolling downhill. Well, it's just going to happen because it's physics. So it's nice to have the GPS that locks onto this. But as a budget beginner drone, if your first drone does have GPS, then you got to really try to understand how the pre-start checklist works. You got to set the gyros, you got to calibrate the compass, you got to hook up the Wi-Fi up to your phone. There's a lot more to it. A lot of people, they want to skip a few steps and then they complain that it toilet bowling, it flies away and does all things. But this drone is going to hold its position as long as the wind speed doesn't go faster than what the drone is capable of. It's a 1-axis gimbal and it does go up and down with the remote. Matter of fact, it uses the same remote as the LYRC, so that's kind of funny. It is a LED screen on the remote. I like that. I like the fact that it comes with multiple batteries in a nice case. So if your budget's $100 because you got a $100 gift card at Christmas at Walmart and Mrs. Budget says, okay, you got a $100 budget, this one checks a lot of boxes. But how does she fly? Well, let's go find out. It's really windy outside, so I'm not going to do the autonomous flight features. This one has follow me, circle me, and does waypoints. I'm just going to fly it, and because it's really windy outside, I wouldn't even suggest using those autonomous flight features on a drone without obstacle avoidance. And of course, when this one doesn't have obstacle avoidance. But what a great way to see if you want to get into the drone hobby for $99. So let's go put her up in the air. Let me start out by saying what a great day to test this drone. We've got 10 to 15 mile an hour winds with gust up to 20, which is really going to put this thing to a challenge, but it did really well. Now it is a Wi-Fi drone, so the Wi-Fi is hooked up to my device. So it's got short range, probably 200 to 300 meters, but that's about as far as you can see it anyway. So we're hooked up to 14 satellites and they are locked in and holding this thing into position in these really high winds, because that's why you're buying this, because it's a GPS drone. You're not buying it for the camera. Because here's some of the pictures that I took, and the pictures are pretty decent, but the video is really bad because it's windy and it's a 1-axis gimbal and there's no image stabilization, so it's really shaky. I'm sure you could get some better video on a day that's not so windy, but the color's not so good. So here is the interface with the app and what that looks like. Again, it's really shaky because this drone is being blown around. I would not use the controls on the app. I would only use them on the remote. They seem to function better. The only thing maybe is the stop button if you can't remember where it is on the controller and it's flying away and you want to have it fall out of the sky. And you can fly it with your phone because the LED screen on the remote gives you all the information that you need. It tells you how far away it is, how high it is, how many satellites you have. And I really like the remote having the LED screen built in, especially at this price point. So the forward speed on the drone is really good, but it turns really slow. So it's not going to be a really sport flyer, just a good stable one. It does come with two 2200 milliwatt amp batteries. And I got about 15 minutes of flight times from each battery, which would probably be closer to 20 minutes if it wasn't so windy. And what's nice is the remote is rechargeable, so you don't have to put batteries in it. So I'm starting to get more confidence in the drone. It's time to start sending it out and try some distance where I can barely see which way it's going. I gotta look down at the screen sometimes. So if it's this windy and you're with a non-GPS drone, I've lost several of them by just glancing down at the screen to look at the camera, and I'll look up and the aliens grabbed it and it went away. So that's one good thing with this drone. It's a GPS drone, so you can send it up high. One thing to be careful with when you're sending up high is the wind could be a lot faster at 200 feet than it can be at ground. So be careful when you're putting these drones up when it's really windy out, because the weather can change at different heights. And this drone's not available on Amazon. So if you want to get it at $99, you need to go to walmart.com and order it. And it came really quick. So let's go inside and go over the interface with the app and all the functions of the drone. See what he weighs in at. He weighs in at 211 grams. So it is under the 250 mark for the FAA. So you don't need to register it, and it's not going to fall under the remote beacon guidelines coming out soon, where all drones have to have a remote beacon. That's only for over 250. So compared to the LYRC, a little bit smaller. It looks just a little bit smaller than the LYRC. It weighs just a tad more. There's a lot of similarities in these, especially on the bottom. They flew very similar. And matter of fact, look at this. They even use the same remote, but they won't interchange because the buttons are programmed different for the drones. A way to get the app, it's the same app as the LYRC. The instructions that I got in this one, even though it's from Walmart, are all in Chinese. The manual that I got was very short, a lot of misprints, but it gives you an app that you can download a newer one. It came with a really nice case, came with 2 batteries, versus the LYRC only came with 1, and it only came with the styrofoam case. So for $99, the fact that you can get a case, 2 batteries, extra props, a handy dandy screwdriver, and it did come with 2 chargers. I used one of them. I like this net in here, and it zips up. There's a little handle on the top. So they are 2200 milliwatt amp batteries. That's a pretty powerful little battery, and I love it that you can just plug them in with any micro USB and charge them. And there's a light in here, it'll stay red and it'll go off and it lets you know they're charged. I was getting 16, 18 minutes of flight time, but as you saw, it was really windy outside. You might get up to 18, 19 minutes on a calmer day. The batteries are kind of a little difficult to get out. You turn it on right here. And it does have optical flow sensors on it, and it has 2 cameras. You can switch between this camera and this camera. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that. And it said about that, if you don't have the SD card in, that it records to the phone, but I don't see a place to put an SD card. So it is a 1-axis gimbal. It'll go up and down, but it doesn't even have image stabilization. So it's going to take good pictures, but it's not going to get good video. There's no SD card slot. So on the remote, it's got 2 fake antennas. You open up here. This is where your phone goes. You turn it on. And I do like the fact it tells you the battery on the remote and the drone right here. It tells you that it's in GPS, and it'll have the satellites right here. Of course, we're indoors, and how good it's connected to the drone. So when you turn it on, you got to go up and down to bind it to it. So it's up and down. Oops. Well, I already have it bound, but when you first turn it on, you got to go up and down to bind it. This is where you can turn the GPS on and off if you're going to fly indoors. I wouldn't suggest flying this indoors. Right here's your speed switch. You can turn it up and down. Press here to take a photo, long press here to take a video, and this moves the gimbal up and down. When you first turn it on, this is kind of confusing because of the instructions. You press this and it sets a gyro. So there's a gyro in here, so you got to point it away from you and hold down and press on this button. That sets the gyros. Make sure you're on a flat surface, not near any metal. And then you set this one to calibrate the compass. You know how when you get in your car and you start to drive and it tells you to turn around and come back? Well, that's because the satellites don't know the front and back of your car. So if you press this button, it'll start blinking. You spin it 3 times, it'll blink at you. Then you turn it up, and it'll beep at you again. All right, so you want to do that anytime you drive more, anytime you move location. So if you keep flying in your backyard, you don't need to reset You don't need to recalibrate the compass every time. Unless it starts toilet bowling or kind of flying weird, land it, reset your gyros, and recalibrate the compass. But in the instructions, if you don't do this, it's gonna fly weird. So a lot of the reviews are really bad on this drone, but you saw it, it was really windy outside, and this thing flew just fine. And also right here, it shows you the height and the distance. Right here's, so to unlock the motors, you pull down and out, and that unlocks them, and you can just press up, or you can press this button right here and it'll take off and it'll go to a foot. I'd always unlock it by yourself. I would never use that. And this is where you can fly in headless mode. Don't ever use that. So again, gyro calibration, compass calibration, GPS, photo, video, speed, move the gimbal up and down. You be sure and memorize these, because you don't even want to use the app when you first start flying a drone. You just want to fly it and get used to the orientation of it. I flew it with my phone. Let me show you on my iPad. So you go to your camera, open up the QR code, go to the App Store. It's RX Drone, download it. You can open it, but it's not gonna work because it's a Wi-Fi drone. So what you gotta do, you gotta go back to your settings, open up your Wi-Fi, HF GPS 5G. Once that's clicked, then you can go back to the app and open it up and hit play. And now the camera's working. Pretty nifty. So it adjusts to the different light as you move it around. See how it's real bright? So the camera automatically adjusts to dark to light. Right here's where you take off. This will unlock the motors right here. This takes you to the autonomous flight features. So right here, you can switch the camera, you can switch to the downward facing camera. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that. And then you can, I didn't even try any of the circle me's or follow me's because it was so windy outside. I'm sure they worked. They worked on the other one, but not having obstacle avoidance with the budget beginner drone, it's really just meant to fly and just be glad that you have GPS, that it will hold itself in the wind. And right here is where you touch the, again, I would just use the remote. I wouldn't use the app for the controls, but you can take a picture right here, and then you can start a video, and stop it. Right. You can go in here, and you can see where you're at on the GPS. This will be your emergency stop, and this is your return to home. It did fine in the return to home. And if you go back out, you can look at your media right here, there, and it'll show the picture that we just took. And there's the video that we just took. It has some instructions. This shows you how to do the waypoints. I wouldn't even try those with this drone. So let's go back for our final review.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching my review of the Net1 GPS drone for $99. How do I think it compares to the other $99 drone out there? Well, I gotta admit the LYRC seemed to have more performance and just seemed to fly just a little bit better than this one. But this one has to come from China. It's gonna take a month to 6 weeks, comes with one battery and no bag. The fact that I can get multiple batteries, have a case, and buy it from a local vendor, I definitely would go with the NetNew drone. Do I think it's the best beginner drone out there? No, guys, but I really like the DJI Mini SE at $299. To me, is by far the best value of any beginner drone out there. But if you only want to spend a little over $200, then I really like this Potensic Atom SE that I just got through reviewing. This is a fantastic drone, and it's $235 with the discount that I have in the video and with the $50 to have off on Amazon right now, and it's this price point. But if Mrs. Budget says you've only got $100 to spend and you want to buy a drone and you want it to check a lot of boxes, this one checks a lot of boxes. Again, I think there's some other really good drones out there for $50 and $60. I really like the Holy Stone HS430, and I think that's like $40, and it flies as long as this one does. And it has a better camera actually than this one, but it's not a GPS drone, it has brushed motors. So if you bought this drone, be sure and tell me what you think about it, and how much better do you feel buying a drone from Walmart versus buying it from Banggood and it comes from China. So do I think it's a fantastic drone? No, it's not a fantastic drone, guys. It's $99 and it has GPS and it has brushless motors. If you know of another GPS drone out there that's $99, it has brushless motors and a bag and extra batteries,
be sure and reach out to me and tell me it. I'll buy it and I'll review that one too. But as of right now, this is the only drone that's before tax is $99 that checks so many boxes. So guys, as always, if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.